Y'all, where's my cookie? Niggas getting accolades for being rookies. Get acknowledgement for what they should be. Little chocolate on the roll, you can call me Tootsie. Yeah, you decent, but I'm tripping off for what you could be. Sitting solo with the solo, zipping up my hoodie. Hamburgers pulled up, so I got the boogie. I'm not fucking with that nigga, cause he kinda pushy. So I'm with my other nigga, and we playing footsies. Yeah, we playing footsies. Lang Lang and patchouli oil got me smelling woodsy. Mr. Pushy blowing up my line, yeah, he would be. That's what happens when you mommy dudes that was wussy. Yeah, playing footsies. Lang Lang and patchouli oil got me smelling woodsy. Mr. Pushy blowing me up, figured he would be. That's what happens when you mommy dudes that was wussy.
Swear to God, I am fucking done writing. Every time I slide on a bed, she hiding. Pull up on go on the block, I can't find them. These little ass bitches never live the life I live. Swear to God, I am fucking done writing.
Well, I'm Tiny Jag, I'm a rapper from Detroit. I'm actually in my first year of doing it, so baby rapper, but it's been a great time so far. When I was born, I was in Hamtramck, which is a city that's inside of Detroit. It's surrounded completely by Detroit. And then I moved from there to the east side of Detroit, which there's a lot of duality in my life. There always has been. I lived in Detroit, but I went to school in a suburb in East Point. So although I had my home friends and my school friends, they were quite different from each other. And it was an opportunity for me to kind of be familiar with more than just one perspective. So although I do consider myself as born and raised in Detroit, I was able to kind of tap into a lot of different things. So it's been a very multifaceted experience for me being raised in the area. Growing up, I was a dancer and I was a softball player. So I did tap and jazz and hip hop and a little bit of ballet. And I ended up teaching tap, which is crazy to think about now. I haven't tapped in so long, but yeah, I ended up teaching tap and hip hop for a few years. And then softball, I did that. I had to give that up for dance, though. Dance is like very vigorous, like especially if you're any good, it gets real competitive and real wild. So I had to give up just about everything for dancing. But musically, I will say that Slim Shady had a huge influence. Like that was a pivotal moment for me. Kind of, I'd never seen anything like that before, especially at such a young age. We didn't even really know that was like allowed to kind of just be so out of the box. And then to find out that he was from our city, that was a very pivotal moment for me, and it made things real. It made things real at a young age. Like you can do this, and you can be yourself and be really cool and wild with it. And I'm worth listening to because I'm one of few people that you're gonna get right now that are willing to show you who they are through the art and not necessarily fall victim to some of the conditioning that's been forced upon us as of late. I feel like he was always, like, I always say Slim Shady only because I'm an Eminem fan, but when it was Slim Shady, it was something different. Like, when he was Slim Shady, I wasn't just a fan. He was like, he represented something in my life when he was Slim Shady. Like, it was a different thing. So here I am. I mean, even now I get stuff as I'm breaking into the industry, like, don't you want this to look more sexy, or don't you want to wear this? And it's just like, no, not really. I'm cool with, I got this far being, who I am. Because I get all types of flack. I'll perform in sweats sometimes. Like, sometimes I will just be in sweats moving around and people are like, you're an artist, don't you want to? And it's like, no, that is who I am. So some of the topics get a little hairy. I get a little hairy, literally, sometimes. Sometimes people like to talk about the fact that I don't like to shave my underarm, shit like that. So it's something crazy, but I love it. I've been able to embrace it because of the pivotal moments like that, of knowing you don't got to do none of that shit, and you can still pop. You might pop harder being yourself. You just might. So that was awesome for me, from him.
Yeah. You are now listening to Many Mental. So I got my fingers fat. All that head talking, we not into that. If I ever got a platinum plaque, that shit was written in the almanac. Bet I melt that down until it's carbon black. Roll that shit into my zodiac.
Music originally, middle school is when I really started kind of going from just writing like poetry to more of like raps. I was influenced a lot by Trina at the time, and I don't know if you guys are familiar, Chingy came out with a remix to Right There, and he put Trina on it, and I wrote my own version of her rap, and I was really proud of it, but I didn't share it with anybody. And we were in advisory class, which is like not a class at all. It's just where you watch the school news or some shit. And the guy that sits next to me in that class, he took it off my desk and read it. And originally I was kind of embarrassed as he began, but as he got to the end of it, I was like, I'm kind of sweet a little bit. So that was like when I was like, okay, I think I might do this a little bit more. And I went away to school for college and stuff, so I got away from it for a little while, but I ended up right back when school was over. Everything brought me right back to the music. Although I've been like into writing and things like that since 7th grade, this is still like the first 11 months of actually trying to have a career with it. And even within that 11 months, it has changed quite a bit and grown. I wouldn't say it necessarily changed. I would use the word developed or grown, because there's just been things that have added, not too many things taken away quite yet. But as far as just like the different vibes, I have a lot of different voices that I use in the music. And then also just the actual content itself. It started off in a very just outlet and just kind of wild, expressive way to just let things out, and it evolved there to kind of, I tap into some real principle-based topics these days that I want to change things socially, but I do it in a way that it still comes out just fun and ratchet, but I mean, it's definitely tapped into bigger ideas now, a little bit more than it was in the beginning. I'm definitely influenced and inspired like every day, almost probably at least a few times an hour. To a fault, it's distracting, but I would say it could be anything from a smell, it could be anything from an argument I got in, it could be, and it doesn't always influence me or inspire me in an obvious way. The argument I got in could make me make a song that's more about appreciation in some type of weird way, but definitely can be inspired by damn near anything. But the people around me, I would say, are a huge one. If I had to pick 3, I'd say the people around me. Scents is a huge one. I know that's probably crazy, but definitely, like, my nose, like, smells is a huge one. I could have a certain scent and write for, like, 30 minutes to an hour just straight, which is not normal for me. I am, like, a spotty writer. I'll write, like, 4 bars and be like, whoa, that shit was sick as fuck, and not touch it again for, like, 2 days. But if I'm inspired in the right way by like a person or a smell or like, let me think, what was probably the last thing? Weed. Those are probably the top 3. You'll get some wild shit out of me if I'm inspired by one of those. For sure. So one big part of my process is my blood will run cold. If my blood doesn't run cold at any part in the process, it's probably not going to be a good song, or I'm probably not going to believe in it, or something is not right. But if I hear a beat and my blood goes cold, I'm going to write to it. If it doesn't, I'll probably skip it. So that's where it starts. And writing usually starts with humming, to be honest. I'm big on melody more than I am anything. I'm more about feeling the music than I am about the lyrics, to be honest with you. And that's not just with my own music, that's how I listen to music too. I'll listen to a song 8 times before I realize what it was about, just off of flow and beat and things like that. I get myself in a lot of trouble that way too. I end up like fucking with a lot of artists that are like super problematic because it's like, I didn't even know that's what he was talking about. I just fucking like the song. So yeah, I have that, but I'm big with that with my own process as well. I'm all about melody. I'll probably find like 5 or 6 melodies first through humming or just through kind of scatting, just da 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 da, until I start finally writing on those 6 or 7 melodies, and it just goes right in voice memo and just listen to it over and over again until I put some words to it. So I'll have melodies way before I'll have a topic or a word or anything like that. If I could just perform, like if there was like a way that you could do music and you just performed it and you would still have a fan base, I would do it that way. Like, I love the studio, don't get me wrong, but performing is my shit. Like, I don't even know who that is. I don't even remember it. Like, I always black out. I always have to watch footage to see it, like, to feel it again. I'm not even able to tap into it and actually get into how it made me feel for weeks, because it's literally like a blackout moment. It's unlike anything I've ever done in my life. Like, I'm a very lax person. I'm a very nonchalant person. I don't really care about much. I don't care about a lot of like the physical shit. Like, I don't care about a lot of stuff that you see in front of your eyes. I care more about like the inside shit, internal shit. This is the first time I've ever cared about something like this that's tangible, that you can see or measure. Like, I've always been like late to work, leave early, like I'm like whatever, but I fucked around with music and started performing. It was like, oh my God, this is what it's like to care about something. Like, fuck, this is a thing people deal with, caring about shit. I've never cared about something like this in my life. Like, and performing is what did it. It wasn't the booth. It was performing that was like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, I mean, that little monster that gets up there, I don't know who that is. I can't control her, can't talk much about her because I don't know her, but she's crazy and I love her. I always say like Jars is my juice brand. I always say Jars birthed Tiny Jag, because when I first got into nutrition, it started with juicing. And I think I watched one of those Netflix documentaries that talked me into doing a juice cleanse. So I did it, and while I was on this juice cleanse, I was like, wow, because I mean, I'm not eating any food, I'm just drinking juice for 10 days. I did a 10-day cleanse, and I'm like, wow, I would eat fucking grass at this point. I don't need meat. Who needs meat? I would eat anything. I would eat fucking anything at this point. So I just thought I was going to kind of introduce myself back into meat, but I just never did. I started with veggies and added some grains and added this, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do meat. And so I became a vegan. And my life changed after that. Everything changed after that, like everything. I became a lot more in tune with those things that I talked about earlier, the things that you can't see, the stuff that's not right in front of me. A lot more in tune with my universe and my spirituality and everything. And that is what brought me back to the music, because when I wasn't in tune with those things, I won't necessarily say what company, but I was in corporate America. I was doing really well in corporate America. I had more money than I could fucking spend, but I was not happy. I was very unhappy. And I was like, okay, well, this is the first time I ever found out that it's not about the money for me. Okay, now that I know that, I need to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. So I did the juicing for a while, and I still do it now. We still have jars now. I'm just not able to be as quite hands-on, because I don't think you're supposed to be delivering juice as a rapper. It's like a liability. But yeah, I'm definitely still very hands-on with it. And just being able to tap back into who I was, just raw, without the influence of other sentient beings and animal DNAs and things like that. It was just like a different world for me, and I was able to really believe in myself in a different way than I was before that, because I feel more spiritually protected. I feel more interconnected with my universe, and I feel more confident about just following my purpose than I did when I was influenced by some more external things. So I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that with the world in ways I wanted, health is not a huge thing, and especially in the Black community, like it's just not a big thing. So it's becoming bigger, but it's not in the forefront of our priorities. So I wanted to bring those types of things back to my community. So that is when I started the business, and I started it as away at school, because I realized all my peers ate like Tyson chicken nuggets and ramen noodles every day, so it was like stressful, and none of them wanted to eat anything green. So I'm like, let me juice it, put it in a jar, and they actually were hand painted originally. They were hand painted jars. I used to put like glitter and rhinestones and stuff on them, just stuff to make people want them. And people started buying them, and to them, they're just collecting them and putting them on their Instagrams and stuff like that. But to me, I'm like, yes, you guys are getting fruits and veggies in your stomachs. However I had to market it was whatever. But now, here my peers are drinking the shit I want them to drink. So I came back to Detroit, brought it here, and it is what it is now. A lot of the smaller urban areas, especially around here, like don't have a lot of access, at least not cost-effective access to like fresh food and stuff like that. So I'm really big on like moving the needle on that type of shit, like getting nutrition back into like the basics. It's not supposed to be something that we think about once it starts going bad. Like it's the basics. You start with health and then you add on passion and all this other shit. Start with your health. So trying to just kind of push a narrative to get it back into not just the Black community, but the urban communities and any communities that don't have what the fuck they need. Like, it's the fucking basics. So getting that is huge. I would like to have a few of my own restaurants, a few vegan restaurants, like very urban focused though, not like your typical ones like that all look the same and have the same like namaste vibe. And no shade because I'm, all into that shit too, but I understand it's oversaturating right now. So like a urban vegan spot that still screams city life and still screams urbanite, but still has like all of the things that you can trust. Like for some reason we have like less trust for things that are from either people of color or from like urban areas, and then when you kind of remix it and make it look more primed and proper, we're more apt to just trust it for some reason. So trying to like break that too is also a thing that I'm into. So being a absolute nutcase on my songs, but then having interviews like this to show like I have a fucking head on my shoulders is a big deal. So bringing that to everything though, bringing that duality to the way we look at nutrition, the way we look at our passion, the way we look at everything. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be prim and proper and professional. It can be ratchet and professional. You can do both. It's sweet. There's so many business owners that I know that speak Ebonics. Like, it's just how it works. So that is, but bringing the basics of just our health, not just physical either, mental too. Just that's a huge one for me. So I think after I want to use the platform, my music platform, to bring that into the forefront of our minds. I think it's slipping out of our fingers as of late, especially.
I got these niggas going crazy. Live a fucking movie on a jet. Think we about to talk, you must be crazy. Can't give no fuck, that's how they race. I got these niggas going crazy. Live a fucking movie on a jet. Think we about to talk, you must be crazy. Can't give no fuck, that's how they race. Yeah. Smoke organic.
Yeah, I have a lot of goals. I'm a Sagittarius, so I just got like an unrealistic view of life all the time. So yeah, I could go forever about how many things I would love to happen in 2019. But the big thing is I want to touch road. Like I'm not much of a homebody, which is crazy to me because my whole life I said I was, but that's because people used to tell me I was a homebody. And so I thought I was, but I'm not at all. So I'm ready to get on the road. I love performing, so I'm ready to do that every other day. I'm ready to be mad as hell that I haven't slept. I'm ready to have all that shit going. Like 2019, I want to have movement locked in. I want to be moving all through 2019. If I can say at the end of the year that I only had a few weeks that I was sitting still throughout the year, then I've reached the goal. That is as specific as I can get with it, just because, not that goals are limiting, but I'm really big on liberation, and I have a lot of trouble limiting myself. And sometimes when I verbally say a specific goal, I know a lot of people live by that, live by like writing goals down and live by that thing, that type of movement, but it's limiting for me, not for everybody, but it's limiting for me because I get so focused on that I miss something, an opportunity, or I miss something that could have gotten me there because I wrote it down, and if it doesn't look just like that, then it must not be it. And I can't move like that. I gotta just feel. I'm a feeler. I'm a feeler. I get outside, literally, you guys. If I get too overwhelmed, even in the fucking wintertime, I will take my shoes and socks off and stick my feet in the mud. because I have to come back to like where we at. Like ground yourself. I have to come back to it. So I can't be too specific with the goals, but I want to be moving around. I want to be moving around. I want to be in front of people for 2019. I'm really big on the hierarchy of your needs. So having my needs met, of course, and not having to compromise who I am to have them met. If I'm doing that, I'm good. I'm on deck. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be famous. I just need to be, I need to get enough support from what I'm doing that I can support myself and my family and continue to do what I love. As long as I'm doing that shit, I'm good. Listen, you guys, y'all ain't gonna be able to catch me with a fucking 10-foot pole. Do you hear me? Once we are at the level that I consider success, I am, that's it. That's it. I'm ready. I'm ready for that. But that's all it is. It's that simple for me. Everything else is in here already. I just need the means to take care of myself. And as long as I can do that within my passion, I made it. I made it, for sure. For aspiring artists, you will get tried. That is what I'll say. You will get tried, especially if you're sweet. If you have a heart of gold, like I consider myself, if you have a heart of gold, you are going to get tried. And the main thing I would say is do not let it darken you. Do not let it harden you. Be the same loving person you were. Just be smart. Just know who you're dealing with. That tells you something about who tried you, not something about you. So that is what I'm learning. That is what I'm learning. I was starting to get moved around and bumped around, and it started to make you get calluses. You know, you get hit so many times the same spot, you get a callus there. And I'm like, no, we can't. I gotta stay who I am. I gotta stay free. I told you guys I'm a feeler. I can't lose that just because people want to take advantage of you. You gotta stay who you are. You just get smarter every time. Thanks for rocking with me, man. I'm so happy to have everybody's support. We have some sweet shit coming up 2019. Right now we have some shows coming up, but the big thing is we have a show in Chicago coming up at Energy, which is an awesome women's event. And we have South by Southwest. We have about 3 or 4 shows at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas in March from the 11th to the 18th, and I hope to see plenty of people there.